So after learning about the crazy bullet that I dodged with this insane man, I was gonna learn an even bigger plot twist to this whole creepy, crazy story. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or to it if this is the first time you are seeing my face. Thank you for clicking on it. My name is Jacy. I like to do story times on this channel, and this is a story that I was hesitant to tell. Not that I'm like in danger or anything, but I mean, I could be. This story involves a situation that happened a couple of months ago, and honestly, it's still a little ongoing, so I will be a little vague with details, or I might change some details, just so I don't know, put any unwarranted hits on me, I guess. But trigger warning, this story does involve topics of sexual assault as well as drug use. So if that is triggering to you, don't watch this video. No harm, no foul. I have plenty of other silly, tame, and mundane story times that don't involve that. But this one is pretty crazy. So grab yourself a nice warm beverage. It is fall now, so maybe some chai, maybe some pumpkin, who knows, and strap in for this story time. All right, so a couple of months ago, I was invited to this ritzy, let's call it like a banking type party. You know, where companies have like weird client appreciation type of days. I was invited to one of those, and it was supposed to be kind of a ritzy party. It was gonna be on the beach, it was gonna be catered, open bar. I'll never say no to an open bar. And because it had to do within the financial realm, I was like, I don't know, maybe some rich people will be there. Maybe like a cool movie producer or like a Hollywood executive being like, you're a star, kid. We're finally gonna give you your own TV show. And I'm like, ooh, little old me, that's wild. That was not my intention when I came to this financial beach party, but I accept. So I wanted to go to this party, and I invited along one of my friends. We will call him Marcus. And I was like, Marcus, you're an adult. You can handle yourself at one of these networking type of situations where you can kind of go off on your own and talk to other people. You'll be great. Come along with me. So we hop in the car and we head towards the beach. And this was like a nice party, you guys. It was a restaurant that was not quite on the sand, but like as close as you can get. I'm pretty sure like there was probably a gate directly into the sand, and then you could go walk to the water, literally. So like a super nice venue. We walk in, everybody's all dressed up. You know, it's a bunch of like finance bros, so they're all in blazers, suits and ties. The girls are all in heels, and I'm like, sorry for my thrifted H&M jumpsuit that I'm wearing, but you know, what else can you do? So of course, my friend Marcus and I, we hop right into the free food, guys. Charcuterie should be my middle name, because if there's free cheese at an event, I'll probably go. And then of course there was the open bar, and you know, there were bottles of wine flowing, people were getting gin and tonics, and there was like, you know, not the squishy bottles of alcohol. There was like good alcohol here, but I stuck to my glasses of wine, and then, you know, we kind of just go start networking. It's one of those things that I personally thrive at. I know a lot of people don't, but I like meeting strangers. I like talking to people, and I like just going up to a group and being like, what's up, guys? What's your deal? That's not usually my in. Don't take that as advice, but you get the idea. So Marcus and I are doing our thing, we're chit-chatting with people, and we're doing like a really good job at networking. As suspected, this is like not at all related to the story, but like there were rich people there. I'm not gonna lie, there were people there with money, there were Hollywood executives there. I met this one guy who, he was actually the clue maker for a lot of game shows on cable television. I don't want to like name names or anything, but I was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of cool. And like people are telling me about the projects they're working on. Now that I think about it, it was just a very LA kind of party of just like, oh, what part of the entertainment industry are you in and what projects are you working on? So very much that sort of party, and you know, I was having a good time. So the party starts winding down, but I had driven Marcus and myself to this event, and I was like, I'm not okay to drive quite yet. But I had met a lot of really cool people at this event, you know? It was very much like, not so much of a networking thing, it was really just a party. And like, even though it was this weird client appreciation thing, we were having a good time. So I'm looking at the group that like had formed and that we were all kind of chilling and hanging out. And I was like, hey guys, where's the after party? Like, what are we doing after this? It's only 9 o'clock. I didn't drive all the way out to the beach for my night to end here. And so everybody kind of collectively was like, well, there's a couple of cool bars down the street if we all want to round up and head there. And I was like, heck yes, let's keep the silly goose juice flowing at the next location. So we go to this really fun bar, and there's probably maybe like 10 of us, and we all get this big booth in the back, and we kind of just start ordering drinks and a couple of appetizers. I get one more drink, but I also know like I'm more so there to like sober up a little bit, but also still have some fun. So I have my one last drink, and then I'm cutting myself off. So we're chatting with this group of guys over here, and they all know each other because not only were they just like old-timey friends, just like old friends, I guess, but they all worked for the same organization, let's say. This is the part I'm going to keep vague, because if I use specific terms, you guys could figure it out and then go on a manhunt, and that's not what I'm looking for in this situation. But they all work for this organization, and my friend Marcus is chit-chatting with them because Marcus is like a photographer, and he's saying like, hey, if you guys ever need a photographer for one of your events, let me know because I'm available, I freelance, and I'm pretty dang good at what I do. And they're like, okay, noted. And I'm over here talking to this group of girls being like, hey, we're all actually pretty fun. We should go out sometime, hang out another time, you know, like not just outside of this one random event we all decided to go to. As I'm talking over here, there's this guy across the table who, for lack of a better term, is just staring at me, pretty obviously. And I did not speak a word to this man. I did not have a single conversation with him, but I actually did remember him from the actual event because this weird thing happened with Marcus. So in like the, you know, gathering of people being like, hey, what's the next step? He was in that group being like, hey guys, where are we going? And at one point, Marcus like accidentally stepped on his shoe, which is really dumb. And for some reason, the guy, like, I don't want to say he blew up, but he was just like, don't you ever fucking step on my shoe again, or like, I'll wring your neck. Just something like unnecessarily explosive for something as simple as like stepping on the shoe. And so I remember thinking like, oh, this guy's already giving me like, you know, anger vibes, so I'm not going to go near that. But I don't know if it was like an entitlement thing, an arrogant thing, but I had seen him, but I was like, I haven't even spoken to this guy, so why the frick frack is he staring at me? And this guy is just staring at me, giving me cricky vibes. Cricky? I think I wanted to say creepy and icky, and I said cricky, but in a way, it kind of fits. This guy was freaking cricky, okay? He was just staring at me, and at one point, like, I finally caught eyes with him, and like, probably was just kind of doing this, and he stops and he goes, I'm so sorry, like, what was your name? And I was like, oh, hi, like, I'm Jacy, I didn't catch your name. We will call him Daniel. So he goes, hi, I'm Daniel. I gotta say, you just have incredible energy. Like, I just love your aura. Like, you just have such good energy. And I'm like, I know, I'm a delight, and I'm really good at meeting new people. What can I say? But it was odd because I was like, I haven't even talked to you yet. Like, what do you mean you like my energy? I'm across the table and I just learned your name. I don't know. It was just an interesting in. But it was also that he was a lot older than me, like by a decade or more. I didn't find him attractive, but like his approach was very like, I'm romantically interested in you. Let's just put it like that. And so again, we're sitting at the table, we're all hanging out, laughing, having a good time. And like, just every now and then, like nothing too crazy, he would just kind of interrupt and like catch eyes with me and be like, you have such pretty eyes. Like, what ethnicity are you? Like, wow, you're so like unique looking. Wow. You know, just like being like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. So like, I was not engaging, I was not interested. And I was kind of already like, all right, that guy's coming off a little too strong, a little too cricky. So I'm not going to talk to him for the rest of the night. So the night starts dwindling down, and I'm looking at Marcus and I was like, hey, you almost ready to go? Like, I'm sobered up and it's getting to be pretty late. Let's start heading out of here. So that's when I start getting other people's numbers and other people's Instagram, because again, like, I was having fun with these people and I was like, hey, we should all meet up sometime. So somewhere in the shuffle, I am seated next to Daniel, and he was just like, oh, like, let me get your number. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Like, I was already exchanging numbers at that point, and I did consider giving him a fake number, but then it's like, I already just gave my number to like the people that he knows, so yeah, it's not worth it. And I can't really tell him like, no thanks. So I gave him my number. Mistake number one, I suppose. So that's when things got really interesting, because as soon as like we're exchanging phone numbers, he goes, hey, get rid of your friend. We're all about to drop right now. I probably have to bleep that word for YouTube, but you know, the one that makes you go, You know, that thing, that little tablet that you take. And I was like, oh no, no thank you. Like, we're actually leaving right now. I'm not really interested in, you know, doing psychedelics with people that I just met. Like, no thanks, sorry. And he's like, no, come on, like, you have to stay. You have to trip with us. Like, send your friend home, but you stay. And I thought that was kind of weird that I was like, well, why can't my friend stay? If that, like, we're all gonna sit here and do drugs together, why would my friend leave? Like, no, and I'm his ride. No, we're leaving. And he was kind of being like, here, just take it. And was very like a little pushy about it, but I was like, no thanks, we're leaving. Okay, time to go. Like, things just got a little weird. And so I see a couple of them, they're all start like, hey, are you staying and like doing this with us? And I was like, no, like, we're leaving, not interested, sorry, but like, you guys have a good time. It was really nice meeting you. And so Marcus and I leave, and we're kind of giggling because we're like, that spiraled real quick. Like, we were the ones who invited people out for a drink, and then all of a sudden, you know, started happening. But I guess that's LA for you. We weren't interested, but we're like, that was interesting, let's head out. Little side story, we go back to my car and I got a parking ticket. It was for $60. I guess the parking lot closed at 8 and we were there till midnight, so I guess that's one souvenir from this story that I get to remember. So I drive home, I drop Marcus off. Also, side note, sorry for the lighting. It's a weirdly gloomy day, but like, you know, when the sun just interjects through the clouds and kills the vibe. Just don't look at me, don't look at me. But I'm gonna be reading directly off my phone because these are all real text messages and I need you to know I'm not embellishing. So I get a text message from Daniel and it says, hi, this is Daniel. So I just respond, have a good trip. Then I start getting some dings, ding, 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 just a few. And it says, I loved meeting you. Hopefully, I will see you again. And yeah, you left me alone on my trip. You should be here with me too. Possibly hang out soon again. And it was just like, you know, 5 texts in a row sort of thing. And I'm like, not really interested. Like, oh God, this guy's tripping balls right now with a bunch of strangers he just met. Not interested. But I didn't really think much of it because, again, there were drugs involved. And I was like, nah, he's not in his right state of mind. Like, whatever. But I didn't text him back at all. So the next morning I wake up and I have another text saying, hey, when can we hang out? Would love to see you again. And I was gonna go the ghosting route from day one. I was like, I didn't even talk to him enough to like break up with him. You know, there are some people that like deserve an explanation being like, oh, I'm not really interested in you right now. Or like, oh, like dating's not really for me. Or like, no, he didn't, I didn't even feel like I needed to say anything. I was just like, no, take the hint, honey, not interested. And then I get a friend request on Instagram from him. He starts liking some of my photos. And I was like, all right, like, maybe I do need to like, let this guy a little bit down easy. But like, let me see what he's all about, you know? Who is this guy? So I Google his name because he had added me on Instagram. He had his full government name on there. What popped up online was so unexpected and shocking that I was honestly in fear for my safety. I Googled Daniel and numerous articles popped up about his criminal trial for R-wording a Tinder date. According to these articles, Daniel had gone on a Tinder date. He took the girl home and then proceeded to beat her, choke her, and then SA her. And it was extremely upsetting reading this, but it was also even more upsetting learning that most of the articles that I was reading was that he was actually acquitted. And a big part of that was lack of evidence, which is always such a tough thing with SA cases or R cases because a lot of the responsibility falls onto the victim in terms of proving it. And in some cases, there just isn't enough proof. And this was one of those situations. And so I just fall down a rabbit hole of reading all of these articles about this man that I had met, knowing that he was acquitted, but also having that intuition deep down that this man was not innocent. I witnessed him get angry at my friend for stepping on his shoe. I witnessed an outburst over the simplest little thing, but then also immediately getting those creepy, icky, cricky vibes where he was just giving off really weird energy and was sort of like love bomby towards the end despite not even communicating with me in the slightest bit. And it was just so eerie. Like it was like, felt like I was blacking out reading these articles being like, whoa, I not only narrowly avoided just any more personal time with this man. And again, I was not interested. I did not give any vibes that I was interested. Yes, I gave him my number, but like I was giving everybody my number. We were all friends in a friendly way. But then I also realized, oh my gosh, like this man was really pushing for me to do drugs with him. This man was really trying to separate me from my friend, knowing I had driven like a half hour to this event. He was trying to get me alone, trying to get me under the influence. And then while he was under the influence, being like, you should be here with me. Like, why aren't you here with me? I miss you. Everything about it just gave me bone nausea. I was like, what the heckaroo did I get myself into? So at this point, I was not gonna let him down easy. I was not gonna be like, oh, sorry, I'm not really interested. But there was an element where I'm a very non-confrontational person where I was like, okay, you're getting blocked, you're getting ghosted. Like, oh my God, not even gonna talk to you. You don't even deserve an explanation for me. And there's still an element of like, oh shoot, like I probably talked to a lot of the other people about where I worked, where I lived, like things about myself. That there was still an element of like, I need to protect myself and not piss this guy off who clearly has anger issues and has hurt women in the past. So I'm just gonna go the route of ignore everything, ghost him, show that I'm not interested, and this will all blow over. But it didn't blow over like I thought it would. And here is where twist number 2 comes into play. There's always a twist in these stories, as if this wasn't already a big one. But this twist is even crazier than what I could have imagined. So he starts messaging me flyers for the organization for which he worked and one of their upcoming events. He was saying it's very similar to the one that we went to, you know, open bar and appetizers and networking and rich people, like you should totally come. And at that point I'd blocked him because I was like, I'm not going to your stupid event. Like I never want to see you again. I'm not communicating this with him, but I went the route of like, out of sight, out of mind, like leave me alone, sir. But in a strange turn of events, turns out my friend Marcus was fantastic at networking, and he actually did book a gig with this organization to photograph their next event. So Marcus texts me and he's like, hey, like I booked this gig. Do you want to come with me? Like, you know, in exchange for me coming with you to this event. And that's when I told him like, oh my God, no, let me tell you about the crazy guy whose shoe you stepped on, what I learned about him. So I tell Marcus all this stuff and I was like, absolutely not. I want nothing to do with that group of friends anymore. Like not really interested, just separating myself completely. But you go, you booked a gig, you're a freelance photographer, go make your coin and go have a good time. So Marcus goes and he's kind of like live texting me during the event and I was like, oh my gosh, is he there? And he said, yeah, he's asking about you actually. And I was like, oh, don't even tell him anything. And Marcus says, yeah, it's interesting. He's asking about you, but he's here with his wife. I beg your finest pardon? This whole time, this man who was giving me hard eyes from across the table, who was trying to isolate me from my friends, give me drugs, blowing up my phone saying, when can I see you next? I want to get to know you, had a spouse the entire freaking time. Not only that, but he invited me to this event where his wife would be. Like, what was his plan? Was he going to flirt with me and try to like take me out to dinner in front of somebody he made vows for life with? Like, I guess you miss 100% of the Bajas you don't blast, but golly, the audacity on this man is beyond compare. So yeah, he had a wife and he still wanted me at this event. And the weirdest ending to that night was that he, should I show it? Maybe I'll show it and I'll blur it. He gave Marcus a t-shirt of this organization to give to me. And, okay, let me go. Okay, I'll go get it. Okay. I'm obviously gonna blur this, so you guys just really have to trust me that this is the shirt that he gave me. I swear on my mother's life. I'm gonna blur it because I'm not in the interest of, you know, ruining this organization or having anybody come for them. You know, technically his criminal record is clean because he was acquitted, but he gave Marcus this shirt to give to me. It's a pretty big shirt and I have it, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I've worn it as like a sleep shirt, but I don't know what to do with it because I'm just like, what the hell? I don't know what kind of romantic gesture he thinks this is, but like, I don't want your shirt. I don't want anything to do with you. Leave me alone. And so in the past few months, I, you know, blocked his number, so I wasn't really getting any texts that I know of, blocked him on Instagram.